Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today for the second AMA here in the Surveyor DAO Discord. I'm Relentless, here with Degenic and the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Shitcoin Surveyor. We're excited to bring you the EgoVerse project today and hear them tell everyone what they're doing with a pretty unique project. So with that, let's welcome the EgoVerse team. Welcome, Echelon. How are you doing today?
Everything is copacetic, man. No complaints. Very appreciative of you guys providing us a platform to talk about our project today. And I want to thank everybody who's in the crowd that's taking their time to listen to what we got going on.
Yeah, excited to hear. Let's get into it. All right, so first you want to give us a little background information about your team and yourself and just like a quick overview of the project before we dive into the technicals.
Yes. So I'm the founder and CEO of the project. My name's Eric Marcano Jr. But on the chain, people call me Echelon or E. My Twitter profile is E for Echelon. We got a pretty diverse team of about 18 members plus counting at the moment. The core team, besides one member, is based out of the United States. Our other core member, he's based out of Iran. The rest of our team members, they're in countries like we got people in Africa, we got people in Venezuela, we got people in Portugal, and we got people in Lebanon, and in Greece as well. So it's a pretty dope mixture of people we put together, and we're building out the future as we see it in our eyes.
All right, that's awesome. Yeah, wide variety.
Yeah,
That's a
I
lot of
mean, I
experience
could,
there.
yeah, since it's 18 people, um, I didn't want to go down the list, but I could if you want me to.
Yeah,
Like,
it might take up a good chunk of time.
yeah.
But no, I appreciate it. So yeah, so you want to well, I mean, yeah, we've talked to a few of you guys already, and a wide breadth of experience there, which is cool. Brings a lot of unique backgrounds together. So give us a quick overview of the project.
Of course. The EgoVerse is a multifaceted, community-driven project aiming to merge Web2 through Web2 and Web3 through in real life businesses and gaming on that, and we're building on the Avalanche blockchain currently at the moment. 5 of the businesses we plan on starting to peg our project to make a more sustainable long-term ecosystem is things that's varying from Airbnb, Hip Camp, setting up a paintball course, um, opening up a game studio, and becoming a merch line in Central Florida. The EgoVerse is a registered company in the state of Florida as well. So that's kind of like to give you an overview of what we're aiming to do. And what we have already done is we built a FPS game that's available to anyone who holds one of our collections or our sister projects. There's no tokenomics attached to the game. It's a game to give you that OG COD feel, Counter Strike. It's available for a community that we use to throw events in and to prove to people, that we are able to build a tangible product with minimal amounts of research. This was funded directly out of the team's pocket, and we're currently building our MMORPG, which is titled Blood Moon, and this is a game in the realm of World of Warcraft, Diablo, Fable, Skyrim, all of your favorite MMORPGs, with an influence from the game. From the movie Underworld. So that's kind of to give you an idea of a scope of what we're aiming to do and what we've done as well.
Okay, so real quick before I launch into some of these questions, so First Strike is not a blockchain game.
So the only blockchain interaction is signing your wallet to log in, because I believe it's chain stack or chain link, one of those. And basically what that does is it scans your wallet for what NFT you have. You have to sign your wallet and you're able to log in, but the game is a downloadable one. It isn't like WebGL, and it's basically ran on a Unity server.
Okay. All right, cool. That makes sense. All right.
Yeah,
So
it's a little different from how other projects do it. Um, but the game for sure is the blockchain there. I guess the blockchain iteration for that game would be the wallet in itself, but it's hosted on a Web2 server.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, all right. I was trying to clarify that because I know that we're gonna talk about the alter ego punks here in a second, and that is on the blockchain, and that is your token project. So, all right. So I appreciate the background, appreciate the clarity there. So launch in here. All right, so this is a huge project, right? It's very ambitious to say the least, and we kind of want to break this up into two parts so we can thoroughly cover everything. First part a lot is a lot of what you've already done with the blockchain stuff with Alter Ego Punks and what you're working on there, um, and that is a little bit of GameFi aspect with that. So, and there's a lot of associated risks that most people are aware of when it comes to GameFi, right? A lot of people think, oh man, here comes another GameFi style money pit. Games never launch, revenue model isn't sustainable, quality of the game isn't what was promised, etc. I mean, I think we can all agree it's a pretty difficult task to undertake. So, what's different about your project in the GameFi aspect? How have you managed to fund it so far and keep interest in it so far as you work towards the next phases of the project?
Very good question. And one thing we're aiming to do is bring the entertainment value of it. And that's why our first approach with the FPS, which is EgoVerse, the first strike, we didn't really want to release no tokenomics and get our native token attached to it. Like I stated before, the only type of thing that's involved with that is signing your wallet. But we are going to get it more on the blockchain side of it. With right now we're customizing our characters. Every single one of our NFTs, like the characters you see on them, will be 3D modeled, and they'll be playable characters in the game. So that's something we're implementing very soon. Once those get finished, we're adding new maps in. We're doing a lot of stuff you see on Counter Strike and Call of Duty with the game. With the updates, we're going to add in tanks. We're going to add in different maps. We're going to add in option where you can select different characters. We're going to add an option where you get to change the weapon skins and et cetera, and things people are used to playing on traditional games. So I would say what makes us different, and that leads into what we're doing with the RPG game, is the entertainment value. So on the game side, on the GameFi side of it, there's a huge gap with the entertainment, right? Like people are just there for play to earn. They're there just to click a few buttons, drain the token, and go about their day. There's nothing incentivizing them or keeping there. There's nothing there that is enjoyable about it. There's nothing, in my opinion, from what's being produced on Avalanche specifically. I'm not talking about no other chain. There just isn't fun, and that's what we're aiming to mitigate. We're aiming to actually provide good, fun games, and from EgoVerse the First Strike to Blood Moon, which is what we're in development stages. This is stuff we talk about every week. We have team meetings. This is stuff that we always like rapping on, like we're always really digging into our brains and trying to come up with ideas on how to get creative and things of that nature. So how we funded things, to answer your question as well, is straight out of pocket. We met our game developer, which is Willie, one of our game developers. Shout out to him. We met him, and we basically told him this idea we had, and it sounded crazy in the beginning, but he's crazy just like the rest of us. And he came onto the team, and it's just been full throttle ever since. We recruited him around March. He's built out EgoVerse, the First Strike, by himself, and right now, he's building Blood Moon, and he has assistance from our other game dev, Yuan, but we just recruited Ruan not too long ago. So from the packs that we use in Unity, we bankrolled out of our pocket. From paying a developer, we bankroll stuff out of our pocket. Any little costs that might happen for the project, we kind of like just bankroll most of it. The core team get together. We put our funds together. We don't complain. We just know what we're working towards, which is the long term goal. And we're not in it solely and strictly for the money. So we don't have a problem investing to ourselves. How can we ask for other people to invest into us if we don't invest into ourselves? So that's one sacrifice we make, and that's the model we practice on the EgoVerse team.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. I love that you've built an actual working game, to prove that that the longer term one is viable. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about Blood Moon. Will you also do you also plan to build that in Unity? And how are you thinking about blockchain integration for that?
So on the technical side of things, that's not really that's not my strong suit. Actually, our game director, iFloater, he's in the audience. He requested he can elaborate way further than that, but I can give you an overview of what Blood Moon is, and I'll let iFloater take over from there. But Blood Moon, it's gonna be like a medieval open world game with influence from Underworld. We got hunters, lycans, vampires. We got hybrids, and it's just going to be a story of like internal wars. I can't get too deep into it because we're still writing out the lore. And for the on-chain stuff, iFloater, can you elaborate on that side of it?
Absolutely. What's up, guys? I'm Floater. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us.
No, absolutely. I just saw the link and popped in. Probably should have been here a few minutes ago, but it's
That's
Saturday
perfect
and I'm a
timing.
little tired. uh, but yeah, so no, I mean, essentially, we're building a classic MMO, right? And if any of you guys ever played World of Warcraft, Star Wars, The Old Republic, or anything like that, you kind of know the format of the game style. And if you ever spent any amount of time on the auction house within those games, you can kind of grasp an idea of where Layer 2 tokenomics can really come into play. Um, with item creation, crafting, and player to player transactions. Um, Now the way that we're going to do that, uh, with it being on chain, I mean, this is going to be a big challenge, right? We have to do this properly and efficiently, and so a lot of things we will be kind of figuring out as we go, as we create more items. I mean, we're in the baby stages of development right now. We got a few levels, some PvP and that sort of stuff going at this point. But I mean, the way that I picture it is in game assets being able to be mintable on chain for auction transactions through players, and the value of the players, or the value of the items to the players, driving the price of those items on the marketplace, right? And so let's say we have something it's going to be more crafting based rather than RNG item finding, because we don't want people spending hours and hours running around looking for items. We want people spending hours and hours upgrading their crafting skills, upgrading their skills, so that they can then go and create an item, mint it on chain, and then make it available to other people. We also don't want it to be to where the player has to pay gas every time they move something in and out of their inventory. And so the idea there is to find a good balance of on chain and off chain within the game that allows for a comfortable ecosystem for everybody to trade in. I mean, anybody that's played Diablo 2, D2 JSP, and all that stuff. I mean, people have been trading on message board forums and selling items and stuff on eBay since the beginning. You'll have that one guy who just likes to spend 24/7 farming gold in World of Warcraft, and he sells it on eBay. And players who don't have the time to do that end up buying it just so that they can participate into PvP gaming. And so that's kind of the idea that we have driving this in-game marketplace with the Prey token. And like I said, a lot of that we have to figure out the specifics for. But the way I see it, and from what I understand, what's possible with our devs, that we can do this. We can make it mintable on the blockchain once it's created within the game. Keep that metadata to the NFT so that when another player is sold that NFT, they could buy it and it will show up in their inventory. And rather than having it be gold based or currency based, we want it to be item based and crafting based. That way, it actually brings the joy of like you actually feel rewarded for the work you've put into the game, rather than just farming gold through normal means where people just run through dungeons over and over and over again looking for one certain item. And granted, that'll be something that people will do, I'm sure, if they decide to run through this dungeon that has a higher RNG drop for crafting items and those sorts of things. But again, a lot of it's really up to the player and how they choose to play the game. Um, and so It, it's still in its baby stages, but we have a good idea of how we want to do it, and I think it'll work quite well.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you, Floater. I have a couple of anecdotes for you. So, so I played MMOs in the early days of MMOs. Circa 2003, Ultima Online did $80 billion a year via eBay. So that's the potential market opportunity is assumptively a lot bigger than that now. Um, and I at one point had a crafting business in another game that was worth real money out via eBay. So no, that's fascinating. Um, and exciting. I think nice. There aren't too many projects trying to build something that sophisticated, right? Using blockchain right now.
Yeah, and also, to be proper, introduce iFloater because I know he came in a little bit late. But iFloater, he's a co-founder of the project and he's our game director as well. Just give him a proper introductory.
Thank you. Yeah, no, and honestly, that's this all stemmed. The whole idea stemmed from what do the people want, and to ask what do the people want, I had to ask myself, what do I want? And I mean, I would love to play video games for 16 hours out of my day and be able to earn an income off of that, and not have to be dealing with eBay. That would be great. I played Ultima Online when I actually played more Pagan Ultima 8 to kind of date myself on how old I am. But I played a lot of Pagan Ultima 8 on fucking MS-DOS, and that's what started my RPG love. And I kind of got swept up into Diablo and Diablo 2, which I mean could arguably be the best item RNG drop ever created. And the crafting system with runes really was incredible, and people still play it religiously to this day. And at the beginning of every ladder season, an Enigma will still sell for $2,000 to $3,000 for one item, just so that people can PvP early on. And I think that that's one of the things that a lot of gaming DeFi has forgotten. They've forgotten about the guys who made thousands and thousands of dollars selling gold on World of Warcraft. They've forgotten about what the gamer really enjoyed to do in those early 2000s, late 90s era games. And it's all moved into like skins and microtransactions, and it's just distasteful the way that they're trying to do it. And so it also this whole idea stems from that culture that you're talking about from Ultima Online back in the day, where people made real life businesses out of playing the game. And that's honestly what I miss more than anything. I miss video games being fun. I miss them being not all about microtransactions, and I miss feeling immersed in a world. And one thing that people forget is that actually, making money in a game will immerse you into its reality faster than anything. It's like, what? Oh, I can make $40. I can pay for my monthly subscription to Warcraft by selling gold on eBay. That's genius. Um, and so and it's what the blockchain is missing, honestly, and that's how I feel about it. And so I'm excited to be on board and bringing these ideas to the forefront in our project, because I really feel like they're going to be a game changer.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting and a wonderful historical perspective. I love it. And it reminds me also that in those days there were community ethical standards, right, that developed and were enforced around the economies in those games. And I think, right, we're still not quite that sophisticated in crypto yet.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So anyway, let's move on from that to the tokenomics, actually, which you mentioned along the way. So tell us a little more about the token. It's an unlimited token, but it can't be bought. It can only be uh, mined by staking the NFTs currently. Correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. Real quick for the background there, make tell everybody about the ego
Oh,
punk and that sector of this and how those tokenomics are going to factor in.
Oh yeah,
of
good call.
course. Wonderful question. And L2, well, first, praise our native token. So L2 with the game that iFloater broke down that we developing, of course, will have additional utilities to it, and it'll be tailored specifically around the game in our marketplace and how things will work out and that things of that nature. But L1 of praise, what I'm about to get into. So the alter ego punks is our generative collection of 9,000. That's the 9,000, 1,000. I'm sorry about that. The max supply, and only only prey can be created by staking your punk. So we didn't ICO the token. We didn't private sell the token. The token can only be created when you stake. And why we did that is because we wanted to reward our early investors through the different streams of revenue that we are aiming to start and will start in Central Florida. So kind of how that tokenomics is all broken down to them is on a daily emission rate. So your humans, which is the commons, alter ego punks, emit 10 prey per day. Your zombies, which are rare, emit 10.25 prey per day. And your vampires, which are the legendaries, emit 10.5 prey per day. We didn't put an APR rate on it. This is not like L1 of it. It's not like an investment based token. It's a deflationary utility token that could be used for things pertaining to your NFT, such as giving them a naming service, a backstory, and breeding for your alter ego lichens, which is our Gen 1 collection. So how our investors are going to be incentivized through that is when we get these businesses started, and on a regular basis when we have revenue generating from them, we're going to be doing liquidity injections in different intervals after the team has a meeting, after the team gets paid, and after we make sure upkeep is good. What's left over is going to be injected into the token. So this is our methodology and what we're kind of doing with the L1 portion of Prey.
Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, so a couple questions within that, I guess. So staking the punks, right? There's a max supply of 1,000, but they can, swap 2 punks out for a lichen, and then hunters, and then future lady punks are coming as well. Are those also going to be stakeable to produce prey?
We haven't discussed. We did. The lady punks is our charity project. We're using that project down the line to donate to women within the space and women in real life. That is not going to be a stakeable collection. That is going to be a collection that's tailored around charity. So the lichens only can be bred. Your punks, when you take 2 punks and you burn 600 token, you breed a lichen, but your punks do not get burned during this process. And during this process, you receive a lichen and you receive an alter ego hunter as well. So you get a 2-for-1 deal.
Okay, and so can the lichens and hunters then be staked?
So the lichens and the hunters is your game pass in the blood moon. So when we have the P2E portion of that, we'll cross that bridge. But at this moment, they can't be staked.
Okay. So it truly is just to incentivize those first 1,000 people that bought those as an investment. Okay, cool. All right. So then we'll dive here a little bit deeper. So with the understanding of how many characters can be created now and staked to earn, all right, we understand how many prey will be produced per day based off that. I'm not going to do the math in public, never do math in public. But it's a little bit murkier to determine the amount of prey that will be burned through the game mechanics to help maintain value, right? We look through your white paper, we see like the naming and all that stuff. What else is going to cause the burn? Are there also going to be, will every transaction that uses prey result in that prey being burned as well? Or what other mechanics do you have that aren't listed in the white paper?
So we got to differentiate L1 and L2 there for a prey token because you brought up the game and the game isn't developed yet. So, you can't structure tokenomics around a game that isn't built and then build the game that's going about it backwards. So we're building the game first, and then we're going to add, our L2 tokenomics based on how we have our gameplay set up. And that will have the additional burns involved into it. Prey, our lichens is a 4,000 collection, being that the emittance rate is low. It'll take someone to have 2 punks 60 days just to be able to breed for another lichen. So you imagine that'll take a while to burn. And it isn't a token that is more of an investment thing. It's more of a thing where we incentivizing our people that's investing into us from liquidity injections, to be able to make some capital long term, from that from day one, we pretty much told our people that's investing in us what we're aiming to do, what we plan on doing, and this is how we plan on doing it. So it isn't more of an investment coin. It's one of those coins to really receive residual income from the stuff that we produce.
Okay, awesome. So this is just providing a lot of clarity for the difference between the L1, the L2 when the game launches. Just for some of those things, I appreciate that.
Of course.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, so kind of the last thing as we talk about the game tokenomics, then we'll really move on to your in real life business stuff, which I'm excited to talk about. So your liquidity injections. We understand you plan to inject liquidity over time from these businesses that we'll talk to. Are you also incentivizing liquidity from stakers?
No, we haven't discussed that, but our idea is strictly to get inject liquidity from the business revenues.
Okay, so your plan is to once you get the businesses launched, then you understand how much money you have after all your overhead costs, is to then start injecting liquidity.
Yeah, like once we get
Cool.
like once we're on like a regular flow of generating income, and once we have everything up and started, because on our roadmap we have it laid out on what we're doing first to what we're doing last. So once we have these things up and running, and it's a consistent revenue coming in, and we kind of know, like on a month, like we analyze and do like a month to month, a month to month analysis on what we generated. That's when we'll know, like, okay, this month we probably looking to inject maybe, I'm just giving an example here. This is not definite, but just to give an example number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we're injecting, 5,000 this month between all the businesses. So, that's when we'll have a council meeting about it. Then we'll have a community meeting following up and letting them know, like, hey, we're getting ready to inject liquidity on this month. And that's how we're going to proceed things like moving forward with the liquidity injections.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that provides a lot of clarity and transparency. Not making promises without being able to produce. I like that. All right, so now that we kind of understand your plan to fund those longer term we know your plans, but we haven't talked about that. Let's transition towards the future plans with the in real life businesses, because that really seems to be what you're aiming to use to drive long term sustainability, right? So we've
Right.
seen some, and these are tangible assets, right? We've seen some projects in the past. I know Surveyor and I both got burned on one of those type of projects. That was like, oh, we're gonna, buy Rolexes and diamonds and gold, right, and have these tangible assets, right?
Right.
So, so we've seen that happen, and all that happened in the past, and it not work out. But you guys are doing something totally different, right? So you're aiming to open a hip camp for sustainable farming, a paintball course, Airbnb, game studio. First, tell us what a hip camp is, and then we'll launch into the progression of the businesses.
Awesome. So, and our farm is differentiated, but I'll get into that as well. So what Hip Camp is in Central Florida, we're aiming to purchase 2 to 5 acres of land and recreational property that will be used for this, and it's basically an app. So with this app, it allows you to list your property available for locals or anybody visiting to use the land to camp on for a duration of time for a fee. So there's some preventative measures we got to take, like scanning the land, letting the people who rent out the land for that certain amount of time to use for camping purposes. Know like emergency contacts, give them your contacts, let them know the nearest hospital, let them know of any hazards that potentially that could call that, any hazards that's on the land. So that, to give you an overall view of it, is just you just taking your land and letting other people use it to camp for, let's say, a weekend, and it has a fee attached to it. So that's what Hip Camp is. And you wanted me to get into everything
Yeah.
else? Okay.
Yeah. So actually, Dejanic was gonna take it away and ask you about your progression here. You wanna go for that, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's fascinating. So I guess let's start with Hip Camp and go from there. I mean, first of all, why what made you decide on these businesses as opposed to any other businesses? Um, yeah, and then I'm curious, what's the what kind of occupancy rate would you require for Hip Camp to make money?
That's two good questions. So the first question, one thing that it could be, it has a multi-use case, right? With a lot of businesses that we are planning to start, and besides the merch and the game studio, of course. But with HipCamp specifically, we can host our own events with this as well. So it's not only having to be a general a revenue generator. This also could be a business. Well, this also could be something that we use to host private events for people who's in the area, or we schedule a date out and tell people like, hey, on December 1st, we got a we got an event out here in Central Florida, come on by. And to answer your second question, uh, occupancy rate to start generating revenue, it'll really come down to our marketing, and which we'll have to get into once it's time to start those things. On a realistic point of view, right now, with the market conditions, we're not looking to initially convert the AVAX into fiat right away, just because like when we wrote this white paper, we were still in the bull market. AVAX was fluctuating from $75 to $100. Now you see the price that it's at. So if let's say we mint out hypothetically, and we get all the AVAX to start everything. Well, if we took everything out and we converted it into USD, well, what then happens is all the AVAX that we accumulated will essentially get eaten up, versus when we originally wrote this white paper and structured it out, it was a portion. It was a lot being left over that we was going to use to stake into different LPs to compound, just to have some things on the DeFi side of it as well. But so we're not looking to so we're looking to purchase land first, of course, and it's really it's not really a heavy cost to get things up and running for the HipCamp, but we're going to be doing things in steps and phases, and really analyzing the market for when is a good time to do that conversion. If that answered the question.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now I'm gonna ask the follow up is what are your criteria, right? Or are you operating on a timeline, or say a combination of of mint volume and AVAX price?
So it's more on, so like I explained just before, right? It's really on like the price of Avalanche when we structured the white paper. Avalanche, let's just say, was $80. So we did our calculations on, if Avalanche was $80, how much we'll be needing to take out to execute the first thing on the roadmap in real life, which is purchasing a recreational property. We scanned around in the Central Florida area, how much 2 to 5 acres of land is ranging from, and it ranges from $20,000 to $40,000 over here. The cheapest $20,000 from what we've seen from stuff that we could use, and it even exceeds $40,000, but it's in that area as well for a lot of them. And we're just looking at it as a time thing at this moment, and in phases. It's not going to stop the progression on the on-chain things. As far as the game, we're still going to be developing that. We have the company already set up out here, so when the market recovers a little bit, the price of Avalanche goes back up. We'll be transitioning into starting this in real life stuff one by one. And the first thing that we are going to do is the HipCamp and purchase a recreational property for that.
Yeah, could I throw something in there, Dejanic? I think it's kind of interesting too when we talk about the market here, especially with the housing market and the land market right now. What a lot of people a larger community is starting to look for is affordable living, right? With rent costs and everything like that, and there's a big push for people to downsize too. So I think you're also at not a bad point for the HipCamp for your first starting point there to bring revenue with that.
Yeah, and it on a realistic point of view as well. I was looking at the listings. One thing we did was look at how much that business generates on a daily basis, from other people who's already been regulars using their app. And some of them make $40 a day. Some of them make $100 a day. It all comes down to location. We're actually looking to have this stuff in, Orange County, which is more closer to Universal Studios. We want this to be more attractive, and it's easier to kind of market when it's more closer in city versus being away from city. So that's where we're looking more to do it on. Because Universal, it's a tourist place, it's a tourist attraction, so it won't be hard for us to really get people to come on over and rent our property out. But we have a friend and family that's a real estate agent. He's working with us doing that, and he's on standby waiting for us to give him the word. And when it's time to transition to doing it, we will actually do it. He found us a few things that we didn't really want a few weeks ago. So he's just scanning the market for us, while we're doing the digital side of things.
Yeah, cool. That makes a lot of sense. So, and then the other businesses, the paintball course and the Airbnb might leverage the land, I assume.
Might leverage. So the paintball course, we're actually going to get another separate plot of land as well to use that. We didn't want to use one for both. So it's going to be two different plots of lands that we're looking to acquire. And the paintball course as well, it's a double use case, but that's going to be, our real moneymaker. There's a business out here that has a paintball course that generates over $1 million a year in the Central Florida area. And what we plan on doing is we're planning on having a try use case for it. It's going to be used for the public, for recreational use. We're hoping to partner up with law enforcement so they can use it for training purposes. And also, we can use that for events as well. And, with the Airbnb, our idea is to get like a 2-3 bedroom apartment and use that apartment for the Airbnb.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very nice. There's also opportunities there with the paintball course. I don't know. I know you work with a couple different people in the veteran community. A lot of the veteran nonprofits pay for a lot of stuff to send guys to stuff like that for part of their rehab facilities for stuff for like PTSD too. So that's you could, with what you're doing on the nonprofit side as well, you can also incorporate that, and I think that'll be very attractive for you guys as well.
Yeah, what's funny is we actually partnered up with a project that that's what they are. They're vets, and there's still people that's active on duty as well. The person I put you in contact with, Relentless. So that's my knowledge on that, because I don't want to spitball here. This is something new that you just mentioned to me, but that's something I could talk more in depth with you about, and with with them about when it's time for us to really get those things rocking and rolling. Because that's what we're about, man. We're about giving back. And I'll lead into the farm as well, what we're doing with that, when after we talk about this. We're all about giving back, and especially to the people that served our country, put their lives on the line for us. I don't see why we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that with the paintball course. So I'm open for it. I'm definitely down, and that's something I'll bring up to the team and we can discuss. I'm actually going to write that down right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We could talk more in depth. I got a lot of good connections I can hook you up there with to get those wheels rolling as you get closer. So I guess Dejanik, you want to finish talking about the progression, or are we ready to move on?
Yeah, I think time to move on to how you guys are funding all this in the short term. That's it sounds like a fairly big team, and so are NFT sales sufficient to keep the team together?
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into the specifics of how we pay our team, but we have exactly what we pay them. But we have like pretty much like we're transparent with everybody that comes onto the team. We tell them exactly what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, how can we pay you, and we arrange a agreement amongst pay. And one thing that we're all getting paid out of is our Alter Ego Hunter mint, which is our Genesis 2 collection that's coming up next month. And pretty much we're all here on passion, devotion, and ambition. I believe everybody on the team understands that we're here long term. We're not looking for a short term quick buck. What we're doing isn't something that is going to be the most profitable in the beginning, But through hard work and dedication, and us just staying focused on the bigger prize at hand and looking at it at a long-term perspective, this will definitely pay off and benefit everybody. So, little costs for the project that comes up. We do have 2 minute out collections, which we have a treasury put to the side right now. After providing utility for those collections and doing little expenses and giveaways from the collection, all of those funds are still sitting on a wallet. It's actually staked and locked right now. And other than that, we come out of pocket with any expense that comes into it. But pretty much that's kind of our arrangement with the payment, between the team and any cost that comes up.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, that's what traditional startups look like, right? Everybody's there, not typically not getting paid other than in future upside.
Right. We've been around since December 25th, 2021, man. We've been here for 8 months on pure passion and just knowing what we're working towards, man. It's been a hell of a ride. Excuse my French, ladies and gentlemen, but we're already like we're seeing things 3 years from now, 5 years from now, because that we plan on being around for as long as God's allow us to, and that's what keeps us going, man. Knowing what we're working towards. It's a big task, like you said, man, and the stuff that we're tackling. But it's going to take that to set a standard on the chain, from the gaming aspect to it, to making your project more sustainable long term versus relying on your seed investors constantly by launching collections left and right. When the token gets drained, you got to launch another collection to inject liquidity, and then it's just a big old bubble that constantly gets popped. So we wanted to take a different model from it. We wanted to move away from the degen side of it and move back into the investment side of it. And that's why we went with doing the multiple businesses and becoming an actual company than just being an NFT project.
Yeah, no, this makes a lot of sense, and I love that that you're trying progressively more difficult businesses, right, with the MMO being ultimately the most difficult.
Yeah, thank you. I would say the in real life businesses aren't difficult to start. Like a paintball course, it doesn't cost that much. The way we plan on setting it up, the stuff to set up this paintball course in the Call of Duty style doesn't cost that much money. The land purchases will probably cost the most. Equipment for our game studio and our headquarter purchase. That's the stuff, and that's the stuff that's really going to cost the most money and renovation. But the actual businesses, like it isn't a big cost. I guess it's the land stuff.
But even those, I mean, as you described it, are fairly small costs in the grand scheme of things. So no, I think that's cool, and you're scaling up, right, the operational complexity. That even just just the hip camp is more complicated than the NFT project.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
but not not by orders of magnitude.
yeah. I definitely agree with you. I interpreted what you said wrong. And that's why we have a big team at the moment, because we was asked that question. And the question was, why are you guys a startup company with so many team members? But I mean, you look at all the moving parts, you wonder why. We already projected, like, in a year from now, 2 years from now, if all goes how we plan it, we're going to have at least 60 to 70 team members in total. And it's going to just be an ongoing thing because when these businesses get up and running, the core team, we're going to be real busy in real life. iFloater, T-Dot, and T-Suds, these guys are migrating and moving down to Florida, except T-Dot. He's going to be down here quite frequently, so it's going to be like he's living down here. But when we get our headquarters up and running, these gentlemen are going to be moving down here, and we're going to be really focused and zeroed in on scaling these in real life businesses. And the thing is like we plan on scaling them businesses in themselves, like getting them, really up and going, and starting more businesses in that same fashion, just to really turn this into a conglomerate company. So on the digital side of things, our team that's here and our team that's in different parts of the world, they're going to be tackling things on the gaming side of it and in the Discord, and managing the Twitter and things of that nature. Not saying we're never going to come back around, but our focus is really going to be on the in real life stuff. Between the businesses, between the farm that we're going to start, between making connections, between going to events, hosting events. You imagine, our hands is going to be kind of full.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just want to hop in real quick and see where your guys' minds are at with one thing. So, when we had talked previously, you talked about the capital, right? Raising capital for this. Are you guys looking into any types of grants or any outside investors or anything like that to help get the land going and all that stuff? Where are your mindset at for that?
That's a really good question, man. We had a conversation with Avalanche. We kind of told them our ideas. They didn't show too much interest in it, to be 100% honest, just because, you imagine how many projects probably reached out to them with the gaming side of things. I mean, essentially, we are doing things a little bit different. And at the time, we didn't have our LLC. We didn't have this much checked off. We didn't have this much checked off at the time. So maybe we'll have another meeting with them. We, you know, we would like a grant if they would want to give us one, but it's not something that we're just sitting here like, if they don't give us a grant, we're just gonna be stuck. Our idea is doing everything from the muscle up, man, from the ground up, grassroots, organically, from us and the people, man. Everything we plan on doing in real life and the stuff we talked about, and hiring new game developers and hiring new Blender artists to, produce this game more efficiently and more quicker. It's all coming out the Alter Ego Huntermint. We set it up like that specifically because we didn't want to get in bed with a VC, and we didn't want to rely on just a grant. So at this current time, and we haven't even talked about talking to Ava Labs again. So at this time, it's just all going to be from the Alter Ego Huntermint, and from the community to us to the community, making this happen as a joint effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think, and also as you start to, Eugenic's going to hop in here with a question in a second, but I think as you start to progress this and progress the audience that you're reaching out to, you'll be able to find, like for example, things that you do within the veteran community. There's opportunities for grants there that don't tie you down to investors necessarily. It's more about giving grants so that you can provide a certain amount of stuff to like a veteran community and other things like that. So I think there's a lot of doors that'll open there for you. So yeah, Degenic's got another question for you here.
Yeah, I was curious about the how much or whether you have traditional startup experience either on the team or advising.
So me personally, I don't have a business background. I was a sole proprietor for a long time, but a lot of our team members, not a lot, but the core team and some additional members on the team, run businesses currently and ran businesses and worked on management positions in some businesses as well. So they're pretty business savvy, and specifically one of our core team members, T-Dot, when it's time to transition to doing them in real life stuff, he's kind of a guy that we all consult with, and we move forward with after team meetings and things like that. And we also have a legal advisor, LegalZoom. They're working with us when it's time. When they help to structure our LLC, and when it's time to set up these DBAs, and when it's time to pay taxes, they're going to be advising us the whole way through it.
Yeah, cool. Good to hear. All right. Do we have any questions from the audience? Does anybody want to come up on stage and ask? Relentless, do you have anything else?
No, I think that really covers what I mean, a lot of things came up that we were able to talk through, and and that was awesome. It's really progressive conversation there. But if anybody wants to come up on stage, raise your hand, or if not, you can scroll down, and under surveyors, there's an AMA questions if you want to throw. Oh, here we go. Life Eternal. Let me bring you up here real quick.
Yeah, it's some really good questions you guys are asking. So, thank you guys.
All right,
So
welcome up, Life.
Thank you. And let me circle back to the game. And you said something interesting, which I think actually becomes a problem for other games. So I'm interested to hear how you plan to tackle this. You said you want more to be about farming versus just going out and getting gold and the items that'll yield the most gold. Won't that just basically intentionally create the same secondary market that we've seen with Diablo and some of these other things, with people going and hopping on, maybe eBay or maybe just another forum and saying, hey, look, I don't want to go farm this stuff, so I've got this rare item, or I'll pay you for this rare item sort of deal, and circumvent some of the tokenomics that would generate revenue for your game?
Yes. So there's a couple things here that I think kind of solve this problem. And one thing we have to keep in mind with this is because it's an MMORPG. I mean, traditionally there will be people that come in and try to break the economy. That is a very common thing. But
100%.
and it's it's just the gamer mind it wants to do this, right? So there's a couple things we're going to do. Number one, it's not going to be really farming RNG based. Like you're not going to be searching for a specific item for days and days and days. Instead, rather, you're going to be searching for the specific ingredients to craft that item. Now, those ingredients will be fairly scarce, but they will also be mintable as stacks in the form of NFTs. So if people do choose to just go and buy those stacks to create another piece of armor to raise their armor creation skill, they will be able to go and buy a stack in the form of NFTs that'll show up in their wallet. And the idea is that we can make every item in the game mintable if the player chooses that they want to trade it to another player, and they could gift that. At that point it's on the open marketplace. It could be gifted to another player to their wallet, it could be sold to them, however they choose to do it. And I don't really think we'll run too much into the problem of people running and selling them on eBay versus our own marketplace, because the marketplace will reflect the value of the item in game. Also, we got to understand, we use the term MMO, and traditionally that refers to something with, like, millions of players. But really it's the MMO model with a limited amount of players. At the maximum we'll have, let's say every single NFT is sold to a person out there and they are playing the game. That's 15,000 people. And in the world of MMOs, that's a fairly small server. Now, so I think that the economy will be easier to control because of that, as well as the players are going to be more invested in the project because they're making these NFTs and earning their income that way through our marketplace, as well as they've already invested in our NFTs. And so they'll kind of want to, I'm hoping anyway that they will just kind of want to see the game work functionally and well. Now, as the game gets bigger, we'll run into different challenges like that, and we have some ideas up our sleeve that I don't want to just throw out there right now, because like I said, the game economy hasn't been created yet, and we don't know exactly how it's going to function
Understood.
in game. But we do have some ideas on how to curb that, whether that be ladder or just the development of new areas and new item types that kind of drive that value forward. Um, and another benefit to doing an MMO style game, I mean, you look at World of Warcraft as it sits today, what the max level is 120. They've gone through 10 expansions or something like that in the past 20 years. And so, I mean, even that game in its fullness was released in stages, right? With level caps along the stages and different items that used to be worth insane amounts of money in game that are now essentially worthless. And so it's like the game has been constantly driving the economy forward by raising the level cap, creating new areas, new challenges, new bosses, new raids, new PvP sections, all of that, and also by creating armor sets that are achieve that you can only get through honor points or through actually earning things in game. I think all of these things, when utilized properly, will help to balance out that problem that we see in traditional gaming, as well as just the fact that it's a targeted audience, right? We're not going to be trying to sell this game on Steam. It's going to be given to people in our Discord who already hold our NFTs, and to get access they'll have to own an NFT. We also have been talking about rental services with people who own multiple NFTs and little things like that, and little ideas that we have. Um, but again, all of those depend on how it actually functions once we get players in the game creating the items. And from
Yeah.
a development standpoint, it's going to be a lot of adjustments there. But we do have some ideas on how to control that. Um, We've actually even had some heated discussions on how to control that. But I think that we've come together in such a way that we think we will be able to solve that problem. But ultimately, it's up to the player and how much they enjoy playing the game and whether or not they want to break it. And
Yeah,
so,
so let me follow this up here because I like what you're saying. I actually few people know this. I actually played WoW professionally for
oh,
a
nice.
good bit of time, so I've made a good bit of money off of playing video games in my life. And my one of the biggest concerns I have anytime that you have basically a circular model that either you could come and sell the farmed item or you could buy it, is that then you could potentially inflate that market. And what you're saying then, well, you could do like a WoW model and either do a squish or a raise of a level cap and release new content sort of deal.
Mhm.
And we all know development takes time in the blockchain. So how do you prevent this to become a more of a pay to win style game then? Because at that point, really, if I want to come and bring a few $1,000s, I could own all the top gear and crush everybody in it.
Well, in PvP, yes, you
But
probably
yeah,
could.
yeah.
I think that I think that that's honestly that's one of those things we're gonna have to tackle when we get there. Um, but it's I don't know. I'm personally hoping that the community and the way that the community is that won't seriously be a problem. But when it does come into play, we just adjust the gameplay. We talk about potential league settings where okay, so yeah, you got all the highest gear. Well, then you're going to be putting a high tier against other people who have the highest gear. With the actual uh what's the word I'm looking for? Um,
So
uh,
using a gear-based ID. So you would say,
right.
hey, if you're like and wow, if your item level exceeds such value, then
You'll
you're
be
going to
brought up
be
to another
in a
tier.
different area.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah,
be
okay.
brought
Yeah,
to
I
a
mean,
different
yeah, no,
tier.
I could see how that would definitely work. So that way people who want to duke it out with the big bucks can duke it out that way, and the people who want to farm it more naturally.
And
I
essentially, I
always
mean, you know how it is when a player comes in and gets a full 80 character and then tries to play PvP against people who earned it along the way. They get their ass kicked, you know?
oh yeah. Yeah.
And so there's that too. If we is the matchmaking, that's the word I was looking for. When the actual matchmaking for PvP occurs, you have it tiered on levels based on the gear that they're using. And I mean, and PvP is just one thing. You've got rating, you've got all these other different things that people thoroughly enjoy and honestly miss about good MMO gaming in the past. I mean, I remember uh what was it? I can't remember the name of the dungeon, but the main jungle one for Burning Crusade. I had
Oh.
so much fun on that when I was a kid, dude. Like just actually raiding with people, spending 16 hours trying to achieve a goal. That's going to be a major
Oh
part of
yeah.
it.
I sat down for about
Yeah.
just shy of 72 trying to get a server first kill on Deathwing. So
Right, exactly, and we're trying to bring that fun back to the gaming, while at the same time, like I said, there's not gonna be 50,000 people on a server, right? And there's
mhm.
not gonna be multiple servers. There's just gonna be we're basically creating an isolated server, in the MMO game style with a closed group of people that hold these NFTs. And so I think a
Yeah, I'm
lot of
just
those
always
problems.
concerned
Yeah, no,
when it
absolutely, that's a
when it
major
comes
concern.
down to money. I mean, if
Yeah,
somebody can sit down and they have the time to dedicate, whereas somebody may want to invest in your project, but let's be real, not everybody can be full-time DeFi. They may have
absolutely.
a real life job. They may have family concerns or needs that they've got to attend to. Whereas somebody who's got the free time to sit down there and grind all this stuff out, they're gonna sit there and they may try to actually make this a revenue stream for them. So any
Absolutely.
advantage, because we both know. I mean, I think I have enough gaming experience. You sound like you have enough of it as well. Yes, the pay to earn is more of a pay to win is more of a concern when it comes to PvP, but outgearing some of your raid type events and stuff like that may unlock some of the higher level crafting components that you'll need.
Exactly.
It can very much be just as dangerous, or if not more of a dangerous opening in your social economic, I guess you would call it, platform. Because I mean, obviously, if you're talking raids and things like that, you need communities and you'll need other players. So it becomes both aspects of that.
Well, and
Who
one
gets what loot.
yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that, comes into play too is the Discord itself. I mean, people arranging groups and within our Discord, within the community, to actually go on those raids and do those things too. And I mean, these are all little problems that we have to solve as we create more, because this is all new to us. This is a new thing just in DeFi in and of itself. And so those little problems that are going to come up, we're going to do our best to curb those issues as we go along. But I guarantee we will run into some of those as we develop and in the future with the game. I also want to keep in mind that, Blood Moon is the main MMO RPG project, right? But we already have another game under our belt, EgoVerses, and you can get into it with your NFT. You need NFTs to access it. It's essentially just a first-person shooter. Well, not a first person. It's a shooter that that we do for Discord competitions and those sorts of things. There will be other games that get brought into it as well, and that comes in with the revenue stream for the game studio. We're not just limited to one game within this studio. There's other streams of revenue that can come from that. Whether it's mobile games, whether it's puzzle games, whether it's fighting games. We can develop all these things, especially as we expand our development team and utilize those assets in a proper manner. And so it's it's one of those things where I mean, really, just we have to see how the people like it. We have to see if they have fun with it. We have to see if they enjoy it. If if there's adjustments that need to be made along the way, we will make those adjustments, and our community will know that we are making those adjustments. We're very transparent in how we do this, and we want it to work, and we want it to work for the community. And so a lot of those problems that we have the foresight for, the solutions, I think, will be more apparent once we reach those goals.
Yeah, understandable. Thank you. I really actually enjoyed your answers because I found, especially in DeFi, any team that is doing anything new that seems to act like they have all the answers 100% now
They're
are
usually full of
lying.
shit.
Yes, because the only way that you're going to know is to see the data and the way it plays out. Nobody can predict the future. So
Yep,
I
but we can
appreciate that you guys
anticipate
have
it.
the foresight to know that. Exactly.
Yeah, and the
Exactly.
thing is exactly what y'all said, man. If you act like you know everything, you don't. It proves you don't know nothing. It's a lot of it's new tech still. Like a lot, you see a lot of these games fail. They're not fun. This is gonna take us some time, and this is gonna take a lot of like other like that's the thing too. We talk to a lot of gamers. Like we talk to people who's in that realm. Like we try to get different insights and feedback, and you know the we're open to a lot of that stuff from the business side of it to the gaming side of it. That this is not something we're just closed and fixated on. Like this is what we know and this is what we're gonna do. No, we're gonna have to be able to be adaptable. We're gonna run into things that the team is not even thinking about in the present moment later on, especially as time progresses. Nothing really goes as planned long term. Because you're gonna run into things in between that time, and you got to be able to go with the flow, and you got to be able to adjust and adapt and move forward as effectively and efficiently as possible.
Yeah, 90
Absolutely.
90% of this isn't knowing everything. It's really being able to know your direction so that you can get the right people.
Yep.
Right.
And the one thing that I do know better than anything, when I open up a video game and I start playing it in the first 5 minutes, I know whether or not I'm going to keep playing this game or not. I know video games. Like it's been my entire life. I was running around doing, installing fucking Pagan Ultima 8 on MS DOS when I was 4 years old, and trying to figure out how to get the cheat codes in there and all that kind of stuff. It's something I've been doing my whole life, and it is a passion. And so my job as the game director is to coordinate our developers and help in any way that I can. And I'm confident that our developers can actually achieve the goals that we're bringing forward to them. And one of the things that I think is really nice about this too is we will be releasing the game in stages. The first level cap, when people start playing the game, there'll probably be a level cap around 25, 30, and there will be PvP tiers for that. And so we'll kind of have an idea as we start developing the next stages, what our problems are, and what things we need to balance out in the game as it moves forward. And I mean, Blizzard did the same thing when they created World of Warcraft. The game today
Absolutely.
is entirely different than what it was 20 years ago. Um, or I guess
Well, patch
15
to
years ago.
patch, they're an entirely different game.
Exactly. And so I mean that kind of gives us that freedom as developers to make those patches and make those adjustments as we go along as well, which is nice, you know, and then we can take the feedback from the community and see, you know, okay, this person figured out how to break this part of the game. How do we fix that? You know, and that's one of the things that you know, I hope we have people that come into the game and tell us how they broke it. You know, that gives us, you know,
Yeah, an
that'll help
idea
us.
that I would put out for you, and which I wish Blizzard would have done at one point, is you know, just to make it open for, you know, maybe some Easter egg or some sort of in-game reward that would set you apart from others. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. Maybe you just do a custom skinned armor set, and if somebody
Right.
finds something game breaking or something, they get rewarded with that. It would have the same value and stats as anything else,
Totally.
but
That's a
you
great
know, they
idea.
would at least stand out.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
great idea.
because I will tell
I
you,
sent you a friend request, Life Eternal. I hope you continue sending them
I
in.
accepted it I accepted it already. But I mean, I don't know how late you played, but like Cataclysm Blood Death Knight was absolutely broken. Like I
Yeah,
literally, you know, I played a lot of different classes and specs and whatnot, but I literally at that point in time I was playing on the Alliance side before I joined and started playing professionally on the Horde side.
yep.
And I literally at that time could go and drop in the middle of Ogamar, and it would take 3 respawn waves for them to finally deplete me out to get
That's
rune
crazy.
locked enough that I couldn't survive anymore. Like,
Yeah,
and
no,
that was broken as ever living crap. And it was because, you know, you could basically just cycle some of the abilities. And if somebody found something like that, rewarding them and making it something cool versus just something exploited, I think would go a long way for you guys.
absolutely. And I actually didn't play Cataclysm. I'm still on Warmane, playing on Horde and Wrath of the Lich King.
Gotcha. Yep.
Because that really was my favorite. And
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah, it's excellent.
Wrath of the Lich King was a lot of fun, but it was just that huge player spike during Cataclysm allowed me to really have a lot more play time during that time.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate answering all the questions and whatnot. Hopefully they'll throw down a Discord link or something, or you can DM it over to me. I'm
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
interested in this one.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, guys.
One second.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming up, Life. That was awesome. Yeah, I learned a lot just from that little conversation there because I'm not a huge gamer, right? I never have been. I actually got into crypto through GameFi, and that didn't work out for me very well. So it just reinforced why I'm not a big gamer. But I do think there's tons of potential here. With the right minds working together, I think it can really work. So just before we wrap this up here, I know we've gotten a little bit over our normal time, but just wanted to see if Surveyor, if you want to come on and talk anything. It's your channel. We appreciate you hosting us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the convo. That got pretty deep and heady there, man. So, you know, I'm looking to dive into more of what they got going on over there. I just posted the link to their Discord for everybody just in the general chat. I really enjoyed how deep, you know, the question, especially towards the end, started getting into this. I anticipate and hope, you know, our AMAs are those kind of AMAs here. You know, I'm not looking for the fluffy stuff or stuff that's, you know, and I know um, the team over at Raiders isn't either. So we intend on focusing on good, solid projects with fundamentals, working models, and, you know, some kind of revenue generation, some kind of reason for a token at least, or an NFT, or a project in general. You know, I want to continue to see this kind of stuff come in. So if you got anybody that you think fits that description, feel free to reach out to us or the Raiders and stuff, and let's put something together, get you in front of as many people as we can. You know, it's a bear market, so all these AMLs are pretty slow, but we'll just keep grinding until everything turns green, boys. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Really appreciate you guys having us.
All right, I'm back.
Conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Yeah, I apologize,
Yeah.
guys, for that.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Let's hey Echelon, let's chat sometime later this week. I got some more questions. I want to kind of dig deep into what you guys are doing. So
Oh, of course, man. Let me add you on Discord. And that's the thing, man. I'm pretty active from about 7, 8 in the morning all the way to 12 at night. We're always on Discord. You know, I host spaces myself. the team, we're always on Discord, so we can have a conversation even later today or tomorrow, whenever you're available. I'll make time and we can talk.
Sure. Yeah, no, totally. You guys are building, and we want to, help support and push people building. So
that's what we're all about as well, man. It's collaboration over competition. We don't believe in that maxi stuff. We don't believe in gatekeeping. I like that. I like that mentality, man. If we can help each other in any way humanly possible, let's do it. Because we can build out the future as we see it and as we want it to be. And so it's a beneficial bridge between your community and our community as well.
Yeah, I mean, DeFi, NFTs, and then I am a real life surveyor. So you're talking about purchasing lane, I can probably help you on some of that kind of stuff too. So yeah, I'll probably be AFK rest of the weekend, but I'll get with you during the week sometime and let's talk some shit out.
Oh hell yeah, bro. I added you. Yeah, we could talk whenever, and anybody in here as well. If there's any question that you think about later on that you haven't thought about during this space, you could join our Discord. You could come talk to us in the voice chat. When you see us in there, it's not like you can't pop in. We're always there. Or you could come into our DMs, or you could come into the general chat and just straight up acquire. But we're pretty much easily accessible. And for the team here, I just wanted to tell you, gentlemen, thank you. You guys had really good questions. I could tell you guys got good heads on your shoulders here. So I actually look forward on the back end to getting you guys scheduled in for AMA. And I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day for providing us a platform. And, for everybody in the audience as well. Shout out to the team that's there. And shout out to her, one of our OGs. And, shout out to everybody else who's there that really sat here through it and listened to us, came up with some good stuff. Life, thank you. Because, definitely when I says those things, there's things that's crossing his mind that he's going to start thinking about, and us as well. So thank you guys for that, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
It was a blast to have you. All right, well, if we don't have anything else, I'll go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Thanks everyone so much for tuning in. Very appreciative to have everyone in the audience. Thanks Life for hopping up on stage and providing some real questions and opportunities for us to learn there. That was great. We're really happy to do this with you guys today. Really love your passion and how you're trying to drive forward. Even in a tough market, you guys got ambitious plans, but all the right attitude, I think, to make those plans happen, right? Because you guys are looking to build, and we think that's great. So we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. We'll be uploading the audio from this to YouTube. If anybody wants to hear it again, or if you're hearing it on YouTube right now for the first time, hit the like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing a lot more of these in the future, and we hope to see you again.
Please send us the video, man, so we could promote it. And the thing was, we had a post out, and we had a post out yesterday. We thought it was yesterday. The time got confused, and today, I was waiting for our graphic designer to create it, but yeah, we'll definitely push it in our Discord and our platform as well, and people to subscribe, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll have it uploaded pretty soon.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. I'm Relentless here with the Genic. We're DeFi Raiders, hosting a collaboration with the Surveyor DAO. So please check out the links or drop by the EgoVerse server to learn more, and we'll see you next time.